viewers and welcome new listeners to the Reese on the Regular podcast. I finally have my mom on here today.
It's going to be so much fun. I've been so excited to be on Reese's show. I'm like, when are you going to have me on? So here I am.
She's a little upset she wasn't the first guest, but she's finally here. I brought her on because if any of you guys know, this is Karen, but she's not a typical Karen. She is a cool Karen. I want her to share with you guys how to mom like a boss. So we're going to be talking about her business, raising kids, and just everything that goes into her being an awesome mom. I want to start off with the obvious, being a boss and owning your own business. So just share like how your business started.
I started my business actually back in 2007. It was a huge dream of mine to always have my own business. I've been in the industry of cosmetics for my whole life since I was 17. It was a natural progression just to want to do my own thing. It took me a couple of years just to get a solid business plan together and just an idea of what I wanted to do. And I remember drawing it out like a cartoon of what it would look like and what I thought would be in it and how I would just run it and what I would do on the daily. And then it just started from there.
Was there something that inspired you to start your own business?
I don't really know if there was anything that inspired me. I just needed something a little bit more challenging, and I just wanted to do my own thing. I had been in the industry for so long and worked for so many other people that I wanted to kind of do something with my own flair.
For people who probably don't know this, she's now in Melrose, but her business started in Burlington.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that transition like, bringing a whole business from one location to another?
It was a lot. I never thought that it would be that. When you start off, you have a vision of what your business is going to be, and you realize that not everything is always what you think it's going to be. So you kind of have to adjust your sales and make it work if you're going to stay in business.
Were there any challenges that you faced during that time?
The first thing was, it's location, location, location. Where I was before, sometimes you think go big or go home. It was a big shopping plaza that I started off in, and it really didn't have the foot traffic that I had anticipated. And so I actually went to a smaller community, which was so much better for my business. But the challenge was, first of all, move everything and do a whole new build out again when I just did a whole build out, and making sure any clients that wanted to find me were going to come to see me over at the new location. Those were my challenges.
And so now you've been in Melrose for how many years?
I'm coming up on my 14th year.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, a big slap in the face was probably the pandemic. And how did you go about keeping your business alive during that time? And what year was that for you? Your 10th year, right? Because I remember we just had celebrated 10 years.
March 5th was our party. We were starting to hear things right after the party about coronavirus. That's how it started. And we were like, what is this coronavirus? And we got the real solid news that people were closing. And I was like, what? So, of course, we ended up closing the store after our awesome 10-year anniversary party on the 17th. So literally like a week and a half later, we were closing indefinitely. We didn't know. I thought it was for a week. Everyone did. And it ended up being 4 months. But when I first found out that it was going to be longer, I just had to decide at that moment. I mean, at first, of course, you get like scared and you say, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then you're like, what am I going to do? I'm going to do everything I can to save my business. So
you're going to girl boss it up.
Put your big girl pants on and get creative.
And so she did. She was delivering things to houses. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I didn't have a website to sell on, which I am now in the process of doing. This fall, we will be launching a new website to sell on.
I'll have to check it out.
Mm-hmm. Back then, I only had Instagram, Facebook, I had my cell phone, and what I did was I just started posting things, and everybody was trying to make Easter baskets for their kids and teens and all that, and I just remember putting out an Easter basket filled with all kinds of beauty products, saying, if you can't get in the stores, because nobody could go in a store, you can have me put together an Easter basket, and that's how I started, and people were like, oh my gosh, great idea, we're going to do it. I said, just call, text, message me for orders. I started getting a few orders, and then boom, it just started taking off. All my clients were doing everything and anything to support me, ordering things to send to other people that they haven't seen in a while. I was getting greeting cards and writing out cards for people, and it was just awesome to see the response.
All the support,
Oh
I'm sure.
my God, it was like, I couldn't get over it. I was so touched. It made me realize that it's such a great community in Melrose. Like, the people just rallied around all the businesses and helped them stay afloat. I was very, very fortunate and lucky, and I'm very grateful to this day.
Anyone who's in the Melrose area, you're going to have to stop by the Beauty Cafe if you haven't already and check it out. I know something else you were balancing at that time was hair school, starting hair school. How is that balance? And also, what inspired you to just go after that in such a busy time?
I didn't actually start hair school till that September after, when we had started to reopen. And what prompted me to do that was, I mean, I've been a makeup artist my whole life, Reese, you know that. And makeup is totally my jam. But I had added hair into the salon a few years before that. And the girls kept saying to me, you should get your license. And to be honest, makeup was not a thing. So people were wearing masks. Nobody's seeing your face. So everybody was just kind of like maybe doing their eyes, maybe just doing eyebrows. I don't know. But they weren't doing makeup. And there were no events. So I had no weddings. I had no proms. I had nothing. The first thing that was essential to come back, believe it or not, was the hair people, because it went in stages. It was hair, then it was the store, and then it was my estheticians. And when I saw the people running in to get their grays colored, I was like, I got to go and get my hair license. Maybe that's a good thing to have in my back pocket. So I signed up for hair school, and I started in September, and it was a lot, to say the least. It was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. It's funny when you're in the beauty business, you think you can do anything and everything beauty. Hair and makeup are two totally different skill sets.
But you pushed through it, so you feel like it was worth it. I know you're not doing so much hair now. You're really still sticking with your favorite thing, makeup, but are you glad you did it?
I am so glad I did it. Are you kidding me? I challenged myself, which I love to do, and it kept me busy, kept my mind busy through some hard times personally. As you know, we were going through some stuff. It really showed you guys, too, like that you can do anything you want to do at any age. Not even that I'm not doing hair that much. I have my cosmetology license, so this covers not just hair. It's everything beauty. I could go and do brows now and lashes, and it's good for me as an owner to be able to have a license and be able to jump in and help my girls in all areas in the business if they need me as a backup, you know?
Right. And kind of going off of the fact that you can do anything you want at any age, I think it's crazy that 13 maybe years later, you finally created your own makeup brand, Hey Doll. And so how did you even create that?
That was a very long time in the making. I will tell you this. Before I even wanted my business, I wanted to do a makeup line. I was always so crazy about having my own line. I came up with so many crazy names back in the day of just like dreaming about this line.
What were some of the names?
4 Chicks Cosmetics at one time, because I had you and Brooke and Devin and Amanda. And then I was thinking it was a double play on words for chicks.
Oh.
And I used to call you guys the Chicklets. So that's one of the goofy names. And then another name was B Cosmetics.
Oh, I remember this.
And then I was going to name all the names of the colors, B this,
Sweet,
B that. Yeah,
be happy.
You remember
That's a cute
that.
one. But
Yeah.
Hey Doll is the one.
Hey Doll is the one that I'm very happy that I named it that. It was just so me to do that. And it stems off of how I address all my clients on my Instagram. I'm always like, hey dolls, we have something new at the beauty cafe. And
Yeah, it's your motto.
yeah, so it was a great name, I thought. In terms of coming out with my own line, it took me a long time. I did so much research on how to do it and looking for manufacturing companies to manufacture my brand. I kept putting it on the shelf because, you know, back in the beginning when I first started wanting to do it, it was like, who knew me? Who's going to buy my line? Then it became like, oh, I'm too busy. And, you know, I'm very ADD, self-diagnosed. I never can finish things because I get overwhelmed. And so I put it on the shelf. I do a little bit more research. And then finally, I don't know. It just was the timing was right. And I said, you know what? I have an established business. People trust me. I think they'll be supportive of it. I think they'll want to try it and they'll want to see what it's about. And I was right. I am so excited about the fact that people are receiving it so well, buying it, loving it, trying it. And it's manufactured out of Canada. So the ingredients are really great. And I love the line. It's so fun to be able to do things on your own line and make creative choices.
Yeah, and I think it's cool that you've also been using your own makeup to do other people's makeup for, you know, photo shoots and weddings now. I am curious, like, what's your favorite or, like, one of the coolest makeup projects that you've done?
As of recent, I've been working with In Boston Magazine, which has been so much fun because when I was in my 20s, I used to do photo shoots. I worked for a company called In Management, and they would just call you and ask you to come on location in Boston and things like that. I kind of got out of doing that since I had my business. Now I've been able to branch out a little bit more and go and do those things, and I'm loving it. I've gotten to work with some interesting people like Ashley on 94.5 and do her makeup and go to Jen Royal's house during that photo shoot, who owns the Table in the North End and 2 other Italian restaurants in the North End. And they were just so cool to work with. I got to meet Matt Light from the Patriots and his wife Susie Light and do her makeup, not his makeup, her makeup. But I went to their house and got to actually go and give Susie a makeup lesson at her house and tell her what to keep and what to ditch. And it's just been really cool meeting those people. But, all in all, I love doing makeup. So wherever, however, on whoever, I just love, love, love doing it. I just couldn't pick my favorite things.
That's awesome. And obviously, you've been doing a lot of cool things since having your business from the start. How have you been able to balance running a business with raising, 3 kids?
I mean, well, look at you, Reese, now. You're pretty much grown up. So, I have a lot more freedom now. But I have to say, I've been blessed to be working for myself. I don't make $1 million, and that's okay. I love what I do. And with that being said, I also have the flexibility to be there for my family and to create my own hours and not miss things. Yeah, at times it's been like a lot because, if I have things going on at the store and I'm trying to drum up business, because that doesn't mean I can be a slacker. I have to constantly try to get people through the door and do fun events and come out with new products and buy awesome things for the boutique. And, so I'm always trying to get people in, and that's always on my agenda. But also my kids and my family come first before everything. I've been blessed to be able to not miss certain things that you guys were doing, or if you needed me for things, I could rearrange my schedule. I didn't have to ask my boss and have them tell me no, you know? So that's been great.
So kind of shifting over to just raising 3 girls, what have been, some of either your best memories with that or even just your challenges with that over the years?
Well, 3 girls. When I tell people I have 3 girls, they're like, And I'll be honest, I wished for girls. I don't even know what I would do with a boy because I am a very girly girl. It has been like the best. You girls, I've been lucky. You've been really good. So obviously there's challenges. There's a lot of feminine hormones in the house, a lot of attitudes at times. I mean, when we all get our period at the same time, forget about it. That has happened. Well, there's some dramatic moments, but I think that at the end of the day, we all respect and love each other so much that we can, make it through anything. My relationships with all you guys too, you're all so different. I try to be there for all of you and be diplomatic. It's very hard because, you want to take everyone's side. Or if you don't agree with one and you agree with the other, you have to find out how to stay out of things too. And I have a hard time because I seem to get myself into a lot of trouble, don't you think, Reese?
Can ask the other 2 that question. They'll say yes.
I'm lucky, and you guys are all so supportive of me too. I just feel so lucky to have all these girls around me that support me in all my crazy dreams and ideas.
What is your relationship like with each of us, would you say?
Okay, she's put me on the spot now.
I know you said you have different relationships with each. So how would you describe it?
Devin obviously is my firstborn. Loved her the longest, I always say, because everyone goes, oh, she's your favorite. But none of you are my favorite. I've just loved her the longest. Devin has been 40 since she was 4. She kind of brought me up too. I had her when I was 26, so I was young, and she taught me how to be a mom, basically. Devin and I have that kind of relationship where we've kind of been through it all from the beginning. She's been the one that's been in my life the longest, even out of my relationships with men. Needless to say, we have that kind of core relationship. I've always run a lot of things by Devin and trusted her opinion on things. She's kind of been like my day one. 5 years after I had Devin, I had twins unexpectedly, which
found out on April Fool's Day,
which I literally was so surprised and shocked and scared and horrified, and then obviously happy now. But it's scary. And I had you guys, I did not know what to expect. I prayed that you'd be different because I just couldn't imagine two kids that look exactly alike and are exactly alike. And oh my God, that's going to be crazy. I want them to be different and have their own self. And guess what?
Your
You
prayers
guys
came true.
couldn't be any
Any
more
more
different. With you two, it's been a different relationship because you guys always had each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't as much of a, oh, let me play with you every minute like I did with Devin when she was little. She needed a
Right.
playmate. You guys had each other. You kind of drove me crazy in the beginning. I will be admitting to you right now on this live that I cried for 2 years straight in the beginning. It was so hard. And I would say, I can't stand these mothers that say, oh, twins? Oh, it's wonderful. I'm like, it isn't. Not in the beginning. It's hard. It was also awesome at the same time because you guys had friends for life and everything you did, you had someone to do it with. My relationship with each of you is different in the sense that Brooke, I feel like, has always been a lot more like me in the sense of I did not like school. I was not good in school. I will be honest. I could see that in Brooke. She was more creative and not into the school at all. You have a creative side though. So it's like I can't sit here and say that you're not creative. Devin, on the other hand, she admitted to me that she hated when I did crafts with her. So and she pretended she liked it her whole life and then finally told me, which hurt me. But Brooke and I had that whole beauty thing because she's now a hairstylist and works at the beauty cafe. And that's been awesome. And, you know, so I have a lot in common with her on those ends. And I get her on that. With you, I feel like we have a lot in common. We've always had a lot in common, like fashion wise, and we like
Right.
the same kind of like things, and we can shop together. Brooke hates shopping.
Mhm.
I hate going shopping with Brooke because like I just start getting into
Never go shopping with Brooke.
I just start getting into it, and I'm like, she wants to go home. You and I could shop for 900
day.
hours all day long. I love that with you. I love going to new places with you. Brooke's a little bit of a homebody. She doesn't want to try and venture out. And so you kind of bring me out. Devin, too. Devin loves to do new things and gets me to go to new restaurants and leave the whole, 4 zip codes that I'm constantly doing. But I've learned a lot from you in the sense that I wish I could be more like you in the organizational end. I know I aggravate you because I'm not at all.
Well, I'm
So-
just self-diagnosed OCD, so
But I have to say, all three of you, I have the same relationship where I could talk to all three of you about anything, and it's really similar. I could sit down and have a heart-to-heart with you. I can, we can. You tell me everything. I think I tell you guys everything too. You're like my best friends, all three of you.
what overall have you learned about being a mom?
I haven't stopped learning. I'm still learning. I'm learning that I'm never going to be completely right because I make mistakes just like everyone else. You learn to kind of be patient, to be not selfish at all. You kind of become selfless. When you're single and you don't have kids, you can pretty much worry about yourself only. But when you become a mom, it's like you're last. I've learned that there's no other love like the love you have for your kids. I've also learned that you need to change and kind of adjust yourself to the age too of kids because what they needed from you when they were 5 and 6 is not what they need from you when they're middle schoolers, and when they're out of middle school and into high school they need different things from you, and so it's ever changing, of what you need to be for them.
Yeah.
And now that you girls are all women, I almost need to take a step back and let you be your women.
But we can also be women together, which has
Yep.
been fun. I'm sure.
Absolutely.
No more tantrums and crying.
No, I love that that's gone, to be honest.
So another awesome thing that you do as a mom is cook for the family.
Mm.
Everyone knows you're a great cook. You're always posting your chicken cutlets and just all the meals of the day. But Sunday dinners, of course, they're extra special. Overall, what got you into cooking? Like, when did you start liking to cook?
So I think it all goes in line with, first of all, growing up with a very Italian family. I mean, on both sides, I'm Italian. And on both sides, they were amazing cooks. My grandmother on my mother's side, I used to bake with her and cook with her. I do like to cook more than bake. My mom was an amazing cook. My uncle was an amazing cook on my dad's side, and my dad's mom was a great cook. So coming from all those great cooks and having great food all the time, you're very much of a food snob. I think you guys are too, because when you go places, it's like you expect to have good food. I always wanted to have good food even when I was leaving the house. And I would say to my grandparents and / mom, how am I ever going to know how to cook? And my grandmother would always say to me, listen, if you love to eat, you'll learn to cook. So she's right. And I do
That's
love
so
to
true.
eat. So I feel like it's also a very creative thing to express yourself. I find cooking very relaxing, but I also find it to be very loving. And I like to cook for my family, and I love to cook for everybody. And just, it's like my way of showing you that I love you is to feed you. So,
Yeah, I definitely get that because living on my own this summer, you know, I love to eat the food you make. So I was like, okay, Reese, you got to learn how to cook. So I started cooking for myself.
yes, you did.
And yeah, I found it is very relaxing. I love it. I love just being able to make your own thing and just watch it come to life. I think it's
I think
really
it's
cool.
so funny that you think this, because I remember always
I
thinking
could never cook. I would burn my toast. I couldn't boil water for pasta. I couldn't do a single simple thing when it came to the
Yeah,
kitchen.
you were the last one I thought would want to cook.
But we went to a really cool cooking class together, which
Oh,
was
that was awesome.
a lot of fun.
Yep.
And we made a French-inspired dish.
It
Made
was
some
so good.
crepes or crepes.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun.
What would you say your favorite dish is to make?
Well, I mean, Sunday dinner is tops. I mean, that's just good old Italian food, of course. Anything Italian. So
I think that's the family's favorite too.
mhm.
So you mentioned earlier we have a pretty similar fashion sense. And as you guys can tell, my mom is a pretty fashionable lady. So how would you stay a mom boss and keep up with the fashion trends?
We'll have 3 daughters, and they'll tell you. No, I actually have always loved fashion from birth, and I've always loved to, change it up. It's funny because I see so many trends that keep coming back in fashion from when I was in my 20s to 30s to 40s and now 51. So it kind of is cool to see things coming back around, and some stuff I'm like, oh God, please don't come back. I'm lucky to be in the industry that I'm in because I can be a little bit more trendy. I don't have to be so conservative going into the office, so I can try a lot more fun things.
What are some trends that have come back around that you either are like, no, like that should not have came back, and also just like ones that you love and are getting back into?
I absolutely love flare.
I was going to say
Flare
the
jeans,
flare, the
bell
bell bottom.
all
I knew
that
you were going to
stuff.
say
That's
that.
such my jam.
I agree.
I love that. It's funny. I never thought I would love high-waisted jeans because that wasn't really a thing for us. We always had the low, very low.
Well, I feel like low is coming back too.
It is, but now it's funny, Reese. I don't really love it. It's just now that I think back, low jeans, it was always like you're always pulling them up. And so
Right.
if you bend over, you're always worrying if like your underwear is showing. Now I get it. Like high-waisted, I've really embraced the trend and I love them. And it looks great with crop tops, and your low-waisted jeans really don't. You can't. It's
You
too
really have to
much.
pull it off.
Yeah.
And I think it looks good when you can pull it off for sure.
Yes. I do not like skinny jeans.
Oh, no.
I did embrace them with high boots, but I hope they don't come back. I'm not excited about that at
No.
all. So that's a trend I'm not excited if it comes back.
Yeah, not a fan of that either.
Mm-mm.
Where are your favorite places to shop?
I have a lot of places, actually. I go into the Burlington Mall and I hit Nordstrom, and I like Top Shop area. They have some cool stuff and Free People. And then, of course, I go out into the mall and I love Free People, the shop. I love Hey Chick. Sometimes I really love to go to like an H&M because you can find some.
A lot of.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to mix high and low together too. I
Right.
think I love finding a bargain, of course. You have to have a good eye. You want to pick out something that looks expensive but isn't.
I'm all about a good bargain.
Yeah. Forever 21, even, believe it or not, I've found things in. But even Target, like that is a total.
Target is popping off right
It's
now.
bad though, because you go in there to just
dangerous.
get something stupid and you think it's going to be a cheap trip, and it's not.
Never a cheap trip.
You do not want to peruse the clothing area because you will find things.
You also shop on Shein a little bit.
Yeah, I've done that.
That's
I do.
for a good
And,
bargain.
Yep. And you know what else came back too, which was funny? Levi's.
Right.
So what I have on right now are high-waisted vintagey Levi's, so designer jeans too as well. You would never know the names like Z Cavaricci and all those great names that we had, but the Levi's are a big thing.
And so how would you say your style has changed over the years?
Oh no, that's a tough question, Reese. I mean, like
Do you think it has?
Well, let's say this. In my 20s, I could kind of dress, obviously, more very fun. in your 20s, you can wear anything you want because you look great and you're young. I suppose when I worked for someone else, I had to wear a certain dress code when I worked for Chanel, because I was with Chanel for 13 years, and I always got in trouble trying to push the envelope. I had to really wear all black, and I would try to shake it up, and it had to be very basic, and I would try to shake it up and wear like some trendy pants or whatever, and I'd get in trouble when I was younger. Now that I have my own business, I think I'm more adventurous. I can branch out a little bit because I can dictate what I wear and the dress code and all that. And I like it to be like fun, professional. We don't, you want to keep it professional but fun and trendy, and fashionable, because we're in the business. This is fun. I'm not working in a hospital,
Right.
or a law office. It's supposed to be fun. How do you think it's changed over the years since I've been your mom?
I haven't noticed much change at all. I keep saying, like, when are you going to stop stealing our clothes? And it's never happening.
Okay.
So I think it's stayed pretty consistent, but I do think, everyone's fashion changes just with the trends. And
Yeah.
So
I try
really
to
that
keep
would
myself current,
be exactly.
So
So we've talked about some really awesome things that you've done so far. Where do you see yourself and your business long term? Do you have any long-term goals?
I feel like I'll always have goals because there's just always so many things in my brain that I want to do. I'm always thinking of what's next, what's next. I always have this dream of taking over the spot next door to me, the eye doctors that's next door to the beauty cafe, and kind of making a whole nother boutique and putting all the retail on one side and keeping the spa on the other. So kind of like expanding and calling it the Doll's Den.
That would be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, like the online business, that's my newest goal.
That's the next step.
I think that's really super important in this day and age to do that. Just constantly staying current and keeping on top of the trends and making it always new and fresh for people to experience the store. But long term, I mean, I feel like I'm going to work forever. I don't know. I'm trying to
I don't know when you'll stop.
I don't know. I just can't picture myself a retired person. I might change my mind in 15 years, but right now, I don't see an end. I think this is the type of business that you can continue to do and really enjoy it.
And it'll be cool to see how we contribute to the business. Like Brooke's already a big part of it. And just to see
love it.
how she takes off, and maybe if I play a part in it someday.
There would be, you're reading my mind, because I would love for you girls to all be involved, even Devin. After all, I think of it as a family business. I always look to you guys for a fresh set of eyes and a young set of eyes to kind of take the beauty cafe into the next dimension, because we have a great reputation, I believe, out there, and we've had longevity, which counts for everything, and that's what you want. But I'd love for it to go to the next level and attract a younger clientele, younger vibe. So I think it would be awesome to have you girls in it a lot more.
Well, I think that everything you've dreamed for your business so far has kind of come to life. So we'll have to see what happens.
Well, that's a big belief of mine. I feel like if you have dreams, why not?
Right.
Like, you can do anything you want, and it's true.
Like, you're in control of your life.
100%. I hope that I've taught you girls that, if anything.
What final advice would you offer for being a mom boss?
So the final advice would be, don't take yourself too seriously. I think that overthinking things just ruins the whole flow of life. You need to have fun. Life is short. I can't tell you how fast 51 years has gone by for me. Just thinking in the last 10 how fast it's gone by, and just being in business as long as I'm talking to you, telling you. My advice is savor every moment. Don't take yourself too seriously. Go for it. If you want to do something, speak it into existence. Do it. Because you know what? You can do it. And there's no one like you. And could be a million people out there that are doing what you're doing, but no one's you. So that's my advice.
Take it from Karen, guys. Just do it. Just go for it. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, just that I love you. And thank you so much for having me on. I have enjoyed this thoroughly. I've talked your ear off. Not shy, as you can see. My final thoughts is that I think this is a great podcast, and I hope everybody follows you and continues to thrive for you. And I'm excited to see what you have on next.
And I think everyone else is excited to see where your business goes. And make sure to follow the Beauty Cafe Melrose on Instagram and go check out the store if you're local. But thank you again for tuning in. I had a lot of fun with you as well. And keep watching for more.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Reese. Love you.